Hello everyone, I'm here to offer you another City Daily. We're in the middle of a teaching series in which we're exploring various statements that Jesus makes about himself. And a couple of weeks ago, Andy taught on Jesus' description of himself as the bread of life. And I've been chewing over his words and the meaning of this metaphor. I've been reflecting on how my experiences of eating and food and appetite can help me more fully grasp the meaning of Jesus' statement, I am the bread of life. So here are some of my thoughts. Jesus is a skillful teacher, using metaphors that we can all relate to help us to understand something in a new way. He describes himself as the means of meeting one of our most basic needs, our need for food. He's teaching us that he is what ultimately satisfies our deepest desires and most basic needs in a way that nothing else can. He is ultimately life-giving in the way that nothing else is. I wonder how many of you parents have faced the challenge of hungry children wanting snacks in the run-up to a main meal. Or whether you have family members who seem to have a preference for snacks rather than main meals. I've been challenged by both of these. And I've been reflecting on how I nourish myself spiritually, emotionally, socially, physically, particularly in these challenging times when some sources of nourishment are no longer available to us. I've been thinking about what I might snack on or turn to as a substitute for God to satisfy my various needs and desires for connection, comfort, security, approval, acceptance. I found it helpful to be able to notice and name these activities so that I can be more mindful on when this is happening, and in these moments get in touch with what it is that I'm needing, wanting, or desiring, and how these needs and desires might be more helpfully met in God. I've also been thinking a bit about appetites and how important it is to notice and respond to a sensation of hunger or thirst. I sometimes have days when my busyness distracts me away from noticing these things until a headache reminds me that I've not drunk or eaten enough. I've also worked with people who struggle with their eating, and I've learned that when someone doesn't eat regularly or when people starve themselves, after a while they no longer experience normal sensations of hunger and fullness. I've also worked with people who've lost their appetite for food, which can commonly happen if someone is low and depressed, and how they then have to eat according to a plan rather than waiting for the prompt of hunger or for normal appetite to be restored. So there are important relationships between hunger, appetite, and eating. Our recognition of our hunger can prompt us to eat food, but we can also grow our appetite by regular healthy eating. As a parent, I've tried to do this. I've tried to grow in my children an appetite for tasty, healthy food by offering it to them most of the time. And this has, by and large, been successful in shaping their desires so that they don't particularly want or enjoy fast food. In his teaching on Jesus as the bread of life, Andy quoted from C.S. Lewis, who said that our problem is that our desire for God is too weak and too easily satisfied with lesser things. So the challenge for us is to feed on him rather than starving ourselves or trying to fill ourselves with all sorts of other things that are not sustaining or nourishing. So we can sharpen our appetite and desire for God by feeding on him with regular time spent in his presence and in his word. When we experience our need of encouragement or comfort, strength, hope, these are prompts to turn to Jesus and the food that he gives us, his very self, and the offer of relationship with Him. This food that is freshly available every day, that never runs out, and that brings us long-lasting satisfaction. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." This is a wonderful promise for us to lay hold of. So, can I encourage you to grow your appetite for the only thing that can truly satisfy? The more we taste, the more we will see that God is indeed very good.